there and making all kinds of scary noises to scare me off. I knew that Amma had told me, just remember Rama and Hanuman and just walk whenever you're scared. So I kept saying, and I would go in the dark.
People have faith, but then they're so scared of everything. And so it's like, why do you have faith in the first place?
Either have faith in a higher power or have faith in yourself.
They use the scientific method. Show me God. Seeing is believing. If God was there, he would reveal himself.
You will not get a lot of answers if you completely eliminate the God.
Welcome back to Samyu Speaks. It's a pleasure again to have my mom on the podcast with me. She's visiting me this weekend, and today also happens to be Ram Navami. So it's also a very auspicious day. We get to record our podcast on a very timely topic, considering today's Ram Navami, and it is the topic of faith. We both, I know, have had or at least I have taken a long time to develop faith, but we've both had different experiences that have shaped our understanding of faith and our relationship with God. So I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper into those motivations, those experiences, and then also take it a step further and focus on how spirituality will evolve for both of us going forward. So, my first question to you, Amma, is: did you always start off as did you start off as a skeptic and then later on started believing in God, or did you always have a very strong sense of Shraddha, a strong sense of devotion for God? Can you just tell me a little bit more about your journey from the very beginning in your childhood?
I'm born in a Hindu household, so it's only natural that from day one I have been hearing the names of Bhagwan. I have been Shraddha was instilled in me because my parents were themselves having that Shraddha. Right from the time when I was a child, I heard all these stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, and I was told that Rama is there to protect you, Hanuman is there to protect you. So all these gods were very real for me as a child. So I'm one of those people who really trusts very easily. So I believe. I don't know if it comes from previous births or I just believe. So when my parents tell me something, this is what it is, then this is what it is. So that's how I believed. And I went forward with that trust because they would tell me, okay, whenever you feel scared, remember Hanuman. I went to bed in the night, then Amma would teach me this, Ramaskandam, Hanumantam, Vainateyam. Even you chant this, right? So I chanted that, and Amma would say that no bad dreams will come to you. Even if they're coming, Rama is right there, Lakshmana is there. They're pacing up and down. They're all near you. The moment you remember them, they are near you. So that's the way I was taught, and I totally believe that.
Yeah, and I think you told me one of the stories of how your cousin brothers, they wanted to scare you and asked you to walk down a long dark hallway to get to the bathroom at the end of it. Yes. And all you did was say Hanuman, Hanuman, Hanuman. You just said Hanuman's name because you had that belief in him. Right. That whole time.
Correct. So they actually did want to scare me. The bathroom in their house was at the end of a corridor, very poorly lit. Yeah. And they would tell me to go. I mean, when I wanted to go, I would have to go, and they would be standing there and making all kinds of scary noises to scare me off. And I knew that Amma had told me, just remember Rama and Hanuman and just walk whenever you're scared. So I kept saying, and I would go in the dark. There would be no light in that bathroom. I would go and I would come back, and these guys are making all kinds of scary noises. I would not be afraid. And then nothing would happen. I eventually realized nothing happened. So I felt protected. So that was always there for a long time. So the faith continued. But then, this is how it is. Your parents do give you the faith, but a period comes in your life when you start questioning. That is when, despite all your faith, you get challenges, you get difficulties. Then you realize that what you prayed for didn't happen. You didn't do well in an exam, or somebody failed you, somebody let you down, or some bad things happen. Bad things happen all the time. Somebody dies, some things happen. Then you lose faith. So those things happened to me. Yes, then I did become a little skeptical. And I also felt that I was not given the right explanations about so many things. Early on, several decades ago when I was in my 20s, for example, I felt like, why are we using all these words of appreciation and praise for our deities? Why do we need to do that? Why should we praise them so much? Why do they like to be praised? And remember, our education was so anglicized. That was not helping us to develop faith in any way, because I was going to all these schools where it was made to feel that science is, totally different from religion. So if you're scientific, then you can't really believe in God. Those kind of things. So those ideas were also coming in at that time, and they come in school and college, that happens. So I began to ask questions, and I felt like we are being, what is this prayer nonsense? All these things come. People, you'll meet somebody, some friends who say that I don't believe in going to temple. I don't like to pray to. I don't like idol worship. If God is there, then He's taking care of everything. Then why do we need to do this? Or if God is not there, then we have to depend on ourselves. So why are we doing? So all these, lot of confusion comes in. So I did become a skeptic for some period of time.
Okay.
But yes.
How did it get restored then? How did you
Yeah, so again, as I went through life's challenges, there were times when I was very sick, or just even after childbirth, when you have those, I was getting into some kind of depression after childbirth. I mean, it was not a clinical depression, but most mothers go through that period. When suddenly you lose your freedom, no longer you can do the things you want. After marriage, after a baby is born, so many responsibilities. Those are the times when you feel really down, right? And then as you negotiate your way through life, and then you start deepening your relationship with the divine, and then all those things that you read in your childhood, for me it was all those books that I'd read, all the things my mother had told me. Those things would come back to me. I would keep the faith in spite of these difficulties, and then I would find it was all for the good. I realized that so many experiences that were coming to me, which seemed like bad in the beginning, were actually teaching me a lot. And then I realized all I needed to do was to have faith and have a positive attitude, and everything would work out well. So maybe Bhagwan was really protecting me all the time when I thought he's not. He's always been protecting me. Protecting doesn't mean that no bad things happen to me, because if they don't happen to me, I don't have any experience. I don't have anything to even write about, talk about. So it's deepening me. Each experience was deepening me, and then slowly you develop that personal relationship with the divine. So that's how it progressed. And then lots of teachers came along the ways. So many discourses that I've heard, which were so rewarding. Little subtle things that are told to you by someone. So you can hear a 1 hour discourse, and there can be just 1 or 2 moments when you heard something very meaningful, and that changes your approach.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I just know, but it's also about how it's put to you in the discourse, the right analogy, the right metaphor, and then that hits you. And so you've known it all along, but when it's presented to you in a specific way, then it hits you. And it's like, for instance, there's I remember reading someone's Facebook post. It's a very pithy, small 4-line thing, but it had such a profound impact on me. So it was, she was basically quoting a discourse that she had heard on, I think it was Swami Sarva Priyananda. I think that's his Q&A. And someone asked Swami Ji, will I be okay in life? And he responds, yes, you'll be okay in life if you pray to God. Will I be okay in life if I pray to God? And the Swami responded, yes, you'll be okay in life if you pray to God. And then the guy asks, so it means I won't get hurt and I won't die, like nothing bad will happen to me if I pray to God. And then the Swami responds, no, you'll get hurt and bad things will happen, but you'll still be okay. That's
he even said, even if you die, you'll be okay.
Even if you die, you'll be okay. Like you'll be okay, even though everything will still happen to you. Which means that it's not like praying to God is going to stop bad things from happening, because I mean, this is a topic we'll touch on later, but a lot of people have a transactional relationship with God, right? And so it's like, if I do this, no bad thing will happen to me. But the way God works is that even if it happens to you, you'll weather it. You will get the strength to weather it.
Yeah, that's what faith is all about. And there's one interesting thing, that the conversation that I had with your father, in fact, because I always said that I have faith, whereas he said he wouldn't say that he had faith. He wouldn't say that. But one day when I was feeling very worried about something, I didn't want to take a risk. I was afraid of something. So he said, then you claim to have faith. Then why are you afraid? So this means you don't have faith. So and so then he said that either have faith in a higher power or have faith in yourself, either of the two. So he says it's okay not to believe in God, but if you believe in yourself, that is also a good faith to have. So I said, okay, that makes sense, to either have faith in yourself or have faith in a higher power, but have faith. It helps you to weather all the struggles to go through life. So that is one aspect.
Yeah, we all yeah, that's also an interesting thing, that people have faith, but then they're so scared of everything. And so it's like, why do you have faith in the first place? Why are you betraying your faith in God? Why you're being a traitor to that faith if you continue to feel scared.
Right.
Right.
So then I felt like I need to live up to what I'm saying. So I need to have that faith. So and of course there are a lot of gurus who will tell you, put all your problems in front of Bhagwan and then just leave it with him. He will deal with it and you don't have to worry about it. Now that also helped me a lot. I use that tactic or technique a lot, that I would give it to Bhagwan and I would say, you deal with this. I have done what I could. Of course, it doesn't mean you don't do anything. But you do what you can do, and then you say, Bhagwan, you take care of the rest. I give it to you. And then suddenly the burden lightens and you're okay, and then it does get taken care of.
Yeah, that's I think one thing that you taught me when I was little, and I used it so much. I would go to school and even tell my friends that, like, if there was, I remember it was silly little things, but like there was an annual day parade in which we all get to be assigned for different plays, and me and my friend's name did not appear in any of them. Like, we were not assigned to anything at all, and those things made us both very sad. And I told her, just leave it to God, and because I learned from you, and like, we have done everything we can, we just need to leave it to God and everything will be great. And then it all worked out well for her. But I just remember that any problem I faced, even small or big, and in that age, small things seem like big things, but I would always say, just leave it to God. It was something that I really held on to from what you taught.
Actually, that's all about don't sweat the small stuff, right? And it comes from Gita itself. Gita says that you do what you can, you do your duty, you give your best, and after that, leave the rest to me, right? Exactly. Then don't worry about it. Because you don't have any control on the results. So that, of course, we hear it again and again in the Gita, that you don't have control over outcomes, you only have control on your effort. So put your effort. But we forget it. We put our effort, then we start expecting, okay, I worked so hard, now somebody else who doesn't seem to have worked hard has got the fruit. Why have I not got it? I am better than this person. Yeah. So in school and college, these things happen a lot. When you see some people who are getting rewarded, though they are not good, they are not qualified, they don't deserve it, you think they don't deserve it.
Yes.
Right? So you have to go through all these pathways, it's a maze. And then finally you come to some kind of understanding of what the divine reality is.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like God, the way I think about it is that God has deliberately made it very hard for us to reach Him. Because like when I sometimes have conversations with my Dadaji or people in my family who are skeptics, who they use the scientific method. They're like, show me God. Like, why would you believe in something? Seeing is believing. If God was there, He would reveal Himself. But then I think God doesn't really want to reveal Himself to us. In fact, I think God wants us to go through so many trials and tribulations to lose faith in Him. Like, He'll keep presenting things to you to make sure that you lose faith in Him and see if you still hold on to that faith. Right. Even Dhruva has to go through so many things before he achieves. I mean, all the different sadhakas have had to endure a lot, and they have been thrown off in different directions.
Right. So you have to be in an uncomfortable position. You have to be in a place where you're crying and you're very, very sad, and from there you pick yourself up. When you pick yourself up, then when you actually discover the meaning of the divine, when you realize the impermanence of everything around you, that also makes you believe in God. So you realize that people die. You might say, okay, I'll be with you forever, I'll be with you in every birth, but you don't know whether you'll be together. Everything, you can't trust anybody. You don't know who is going to be there tomorrow. Nothing is permanent in the world except Brahman.
Actually, that is something that as you go through life, you understand that more and more. Like, all the people at some point in life you thought this person was the closest to you, they're just going to be there forever, and then like in 2 years there's no connection, where they're gone, and then there are new people entering your life, and when new people come into my life, I know that like this is also not going to last forever. So this person is going to disappoint you, this person is either going to leave, or you will grow out of this person too, like this person.
And also they die, people die,
or they'll die. Exactly.
People die. You don't know who's going to be hit by a car and they'll die tomorrow. They'll not be there when you need them. Then what?
So this is a realization that happens through growing up, actually, that eventually the only thing that's permanent is your relationship with
Brahman. So then that understanding deepens, that is permanent and infinite in every respect, infinite in compassion, infinite in love, And so that is something, that is another point towards.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a humbling experience.
Yes.
That's when we're going through life. Like one of the reasons that I was able to develop faith is, I would say the first 18, 19 years of my life, I literally had no issues. I got everything I wanted, small problems here and there, but nothing was ever out of my control. And then in college, I had experiences where like things were happening that were just beyond my control. Like I am not able to control these situations, and that's when the belief in God like emerged. It's that something in life has humbled you. Something became became impermanent. Something left that some loss, and you just don't know how to explain it.
Right. And also when you realize the divine design, that you plan something and you've looked at very short-term goals and very small goals and thinking, but then there's a bigger goal. Some bigger goal was always planned and you didn't even think about it, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So then you realize, okay, there is somebody has designed everything.
Exactly.
It's all
that's beyond your control.
That's beyond.
Tell me a little bit more about what your relationship with God and divinity looks like. Like, how do you pray to God whenever you're going through a hard time? Do you remember Him all the time? What does that relationship look like for you now?
I mean, it's not possible to remember God all the time because I'm not that level of sadhaka who's able to remember at all times. That is the ideal situation, that you're always connected. But yes, I do remember most times, a lot of times, and especially when I'm in trouble. Of course, when I'm in trouble, I know there's no one else who can help me, but God. God as in various, since we have so many deities, I have Hanuman, I have Ram, I have Devi, the Durga, Lakshmi, so many forms. So I invoke various forms at various times, right? Now that I know a lot more. Earlier it was in a generic way that I would invoke, but now I know. Like when I'm very, very afraid, it will be Hanuman, Rama. These are the first deities that I think of. And then when I think of them and when I pray to them, after that I feel like I've done it, and now it'll be all right. That really helps me. Now at all times I do remember. Other times also I remember and we have specific times. So the way it works is that when I wake up in the morning, I have some prayers which I say in the bed itself. I remember. And then I kind of center myself and think of doing everything in a positive spirit, everything, wiping off all the negativity of the previous day or any other thing, and just start with a fresh mind. So that's in the morning. When I go for a bath, when I'm having bath, I look at the water and I say, when the water falls on me, I say Gange cha, Yamune chaiva, Godavari, Saraswati. So I remember all the rivers. The rivers are also devis. I remember them, and then I have my bath. So then different times in the after bath also there's a little prayer. So there'll be those little short periods of prayers that I do. When I get distressed by some thought, like I'm worried about my parents or I'm worried about something, what's going to happen in the future, then again I take a pause and I remember the deities. So this is how I do it. Yes, during times of trouble it gets a lot more, but the idea is actually now that I'm connecting more and more to Madhvacharya, because I have been trying to understand, because I was born into this family which is from the Dvaita Sampradaya, and so they are all Madhvacharya, Raghavendra Swami, these are all our gurus. So then all the more it becomes clear to me that you can see Narayana in everything. Every word means Narayana. Everything that you say can actually mean Narayana in the highest form, right? So when you start looking and everywhere you see Narayana, you just become positive by yourself. You start moving towards bliss.
What does that mean, seeing Narayana everywhere? Or what does that mean, seeing him in the highest form?
So suppose you take any word like a fruit, okay? A fruit is a fruit. In a material sense, it's a fruit.
Yeah.
But if in the highest sense, that fruit, you can see it as Narayana. Something that gives you sweetness, something that in the highest form, sweetness that gives you nourishment, that is Narayana. Okay? And then anything, like you can see a tree. And the tree is just a tree in the material sense on the earth. But think of it in the highest form, a tree which is with its roots and its fruits and its shoots, which is giving all around. It gives so much
to people.
Yes.
Unconditionally.
Yeah, it gives shade, it gives you prosperity, it gives you so many things. In the highest form, that is Narayana. So like that, everything, every word can mean...
Everything has a spiritual significance.
Everything. There is a material significance and there is in the higher realm, you can think of it in the highest way, it's Narayana. So as you're sharpening your senses, sharpening your understanding of the universe around you, that increases faith itself.
Another question I've had growing up is, why is it important for us to have faith in a higher power? So we could still live a life of service. We could work on getting rid of our ego. These things can all be done without a need for faith in a higher power. We can still become good human beings in that way. And then what are all these rituals? Why do we need to do all these rituals to achieve that? When we can still live a good life and be a good person.
Yeah, definitely. It's possible to be a good person without having faith too.
Yeah.
So let's say you have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Some faith is needed. You have to have faith. Faith in yourself would mean you would have confidence. You would believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. So let's say you believe in yourself and you don't need to believe in God, okay? And you are a good person, you're doing good deeds, you're helping people, you're taking care of your body, all those things are great. If you're able to do it that way, sustain it that way, it's good. But what happens is, it's never enough. It's usually not enough. When you are in your lows, when you are in despair, it's not enough. Will you be able to bounce back without having faith in a higher power? I'm not very sure of that. Do you think that's possible? Because then you need to think of something beyond the human existence for you to bounce back. Because if you see, you will keep thinking that I did everything right. Why did it not work out? I did so much. Those questions that keep coming into your mind. Why?
I think it's possible to come out of situations, hard situations, and come out of suffering without a belief in God. I think it's possible to come out of it. But maybe the importance of God is necessary for you to move on in your journey of births.
And it's also about getting a greater understanding of everything around you. I feel like
okay.
Yeah, you want to know why some people are suffering, why some people are enjoying their lives. So all these questions of philosophy and all which come to you when you start thinking, where is the justice in all this? Right? You understand that you are just one in one sphere. You are in a material world. Mm-hmm. Are there other worlds around? Like, is this all there is to life? And the other question about who are you? I mean, will you when you die? Is that the end of your life?
But that can all be through reading texts and using the intellectual way to correspond with gurus. You can still get the meaning of all of these different things without the belief in God.
Okay.
So where does that piece of belief in God come in here and fit in? Because I also think, I personally, if I have gone through I would say that hard times have made me believe in God, but I also believe that people don't necessarily need that concept of God to get through hard things as well.
Yeah, maybe. So the thing is, I think if you want to get more meaning in your life, I think it's more about finding meaning.
Yeah.
So you want to know more and more. I mean, you can just live a life, a regular small life without believing God. But I feel like you want to really know more about the universe. You want to expand your understanding. I feel like then you will get into these questions, and you will not get a lot of answers. If you completely eliminate the God, there's a lot of answers you will not get. That's why more and more scientists are coming around and talking about a universal consciousness. They won't say God, but they'll say there's a consciousness, universal consciousness, right? We are conscious, and we are all conscious people. And so, is there a super consciousness? And so they will talk about those things. Even the scientists are talking about it now.
Yeah.
So I think it's needed. It's there and it's needed. It's both things.
Yeah, I think the way it works is you can get through your life from beginning to end without belief in God, but that's not the ultimate goal of life, right? I think as a Hindu, we believe that we're going to be born again and again, and if we want to be released and liberated from this cycle of birth and rebirth, and that eventual goal is moksha, which is actually being different sampradayas think different things, but it's about forming a relationship with that God to attain eternal bliss, right? So that's the goal. How do you achieve that if you don't believe in God?
Yeah, that's true. I think God comes into play more when you think about liberation. So if it's just this life, if you're happy with this life, like you have got it all right, everything is going well, and that's how it's okay. There'll be good times, there'll be hard times, and that's all, you're okay with that.
Because there are these Naval Ravikants of the world. I'm sure, I don't know if he believes in God or not, or even the Tim Ferriss. These people have nailed meditation. They can probably meditate every day for an hour. So they're going through something really difficult in their life, and the way they'll get through it is, I just meditated for hours, and none of that involved bringing in God.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible to live a good life and be good without having that belief in God. Yeah, but it's when you want liberation.
Yes.
When you want moksha.
Yes.
And that's there in even in Buddhism is there. Even Buddhism, I think, also doesn't believe in God as such, but they talk about salvation, right? So
Nirvana.
salvation, nirvana.
Yeah. They're nirvana.
So that is it. And now scientists have even established reincarnation. They have shown in many cases that somebody remembers his past life. There have been many instances. So now if we have established that we are born again and again, I feel like that is already leading you to the concept of a supreme consciousness or a Bhagwan or a God, Brahman. It's already taking you there. If you're believing in this, that's small children are able to remember their past lives.
Yeah.
And it has been, with evidence, it has been found that it's correct.
Yeah.
So now you know that this child remembers. So then it's already taking you to in a space where you have to bring in God in that.
Like
right?
there is God is basically something beyond your understanding.
Beyond your understanding. So we have to all know that there's a limited understanding. Our eyes, our ears,
Yes.
right? They all are so limited. Okay, you can get telescopes, you can get microscopes, so you can enhance. Your eyes will see better. You can hear better using machines.
Yeah.
But again, you hit a limit.
Yeah.
So is there something which is beyond all this? And then when those questions come, then you will start believing in God.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And they say that scientists are often the greatest believers. So, like doctors, I have heard about a doctor when he was when he did a dissection, dissection or dissection, whatever you call it. When he saw the human body from inside, that's when he became a believer. Like he was an atheist until he saw what's inside the body.
Yeah.
And then he said, "How is this working? Who is making it work?" It's like, how is everything working by itself? Is those questions when they answer. Yeah.
That's true. And then that also brings me to another question about the identity of God itself. Like as Hindus, we actually do believe in one Paramatma.
We do. Yeah.
We do. But then why is it necessary for us to be able to visualize God in different forms? Is that coming back to your point about like we are constrained by our senses and we do not have the capacity to take in God in his most like his ultimate form? So are these deities that we see on like the smaller deities, are those there for us to like easily achieve some kind of faith before we can get to the higher power? Because he's hard to get to.
He's definitely. So there is this there is this infinite divine entity, right?
Yeah.
Brahman, infinite and permanent. So with your senses, there's only so much you can perceive, right? That's one reason. We are very limited, and so slowly we understand that there is a bigger reality. Now, so there is one. Actually, most people don't know this, but Hindus are monotheistic. They believe in one divine entity, and that is they call it by any name. So the Vaishnavas would say it's Vishnu or Krishna, who is the ultimate Bhagwan, God. And then others might say Shiva. Then Devi, those who worship Devi will say Devi is the ultimate reality. She is the divine, permanent, infinite reality. So there are different names. So, but Hindus have this concept of one God. Okay. Right? We have that, But the other forms, these are also existent. The Hindus believe that there are different entities. So these are also, they're above humans. They're above humans. They have more powers than humans.
Okay.
Right? And so we worship all of them but we know that they are not the final, they are not the ultimate God. But they also have powers. They also love. They also can take care of you. So that's the reason, like we worship Hanuman, for example. Hanuman is Vayu.
So these deities are necessary for achieving materialistic things in life. Like you would pray to
not
this
just
deity.
Materialistic, even understanding Paramatma himself. We need to these deities will help you in that. See, the other thing that in Hindus we understand is that we may not have read everything, we may not have experienced everything. We have not even gone to those states of meditation where we can comprehend far more than a common person.
Yeah.
So before us, a lot of rishis have come who have gone into that state of meditation where they could see a lot more than we did. And they have given all these words to us, all these shastras that we have, the books. Right, we have so many shastras in Hinduism. In Sanskrit, they're all written. So we take them as agama. Agama, the words of great realized people are in those books. So when we cannot go that far, we will use these books and these words to understand. And sometimes we will just take it as it is, because we will not be able to understand it. So let's take it as it is told.
Okay.
And that varies for different denominations in Hinduism. So different people will use different agamas, different books, different shastras to comprehend, or that is the belief system they have in that deity or whatever. So then that's how it works. So we don't have to know everything. We'll go by what an earlier set of gurus have said. And then if they tell us these are the deities to invoke, and you worship in this way, you do this, you chant this, so we follow that.
Right. But how do I know which one's right for me?
Start with something, right? You start with any path, go a little way, and as you go, you will know. And as you get into the path of realization, spirituality, different guides will come to help you, and that is also sent by Paramatma. So they will come to guide you, and then you'll know, okay, this doesn't suit me, so I'm going to do something else. And you will get into a path. Maybe you'll go just a little bit in this birth. Next birth, you'll advance a little more. And in that way, you will get on to that path. So you have to start by yourself somewhere.
So you have to start with some worship of a deity.
Yes.
And what if you just are like the way we do it in the morning is we give our pranam to all the different deities. So do we pick one and then go on that path?
Yeah,
or
sure. I mean, start with the simple thing of lighting a lamp, for instance, and praying to different deities, as you know, and then keep doing it. Then a time comes, you will meet somebody. If you are in that quest, you want to know how to deepen your meditation, how to deepen your spiritual practices, you will meet somebody who will guide you, and then you go with that person, and your mind will tell you. So as you do it, your own mind will be your guru, your teacher. It will tell you what to do.
Like there's a lot of intuition
will be awakened as you start doing your sadhana, your practices. Simple practices, lighting a lamp, chanting the mantras, focusing on the deity and getting the image of the deity in front of you as a living deity. Do not think of them in the abstract sense. They live, they are there, right? You, like when you were reading Harry Potter, you found it all like a magic world, these things are there.
Yeah.
But imagine if it's not a magic world. It's just that you are limited by your vision. So you are not seeing that deity right in front of you. And now when you deepen your vision, deepen your understanding, and now you can see the deity. And so many practitioners have told you that. They have said that. Right? And then you get onto the path. Even then it's not easy. Even after you have deepened your relationship with the deity, doesn't mean everything is going to be fine with you. There will be a lot of struggles. Obstacles will be placed in your path. You may stop worshipping altogether. You may not even do anything.
There'll be a lot of temptations that will be put in your way to get you off the path.
Distractions, disillusion, disillusionment. They all come.
Which is part of what I was saying earlier. Like all these things are put to try to get you out of it, to see how strong your faith is.
Yes.
So it all comes back to that
But you should
idea.
always have this unshakable faith that there is someone looking out for you. You're not alone in this world. The blessings of your gurus, blessings of your ancestors, your parents, they're all there with you. And now you also make your own personal relationship with the divine. You do it yourself. Move and think of, if you think of them as real, do the things that you know will make them happy, right? Like whatever it is, like you eat right, for example. You don't overeat, or you don't eat things that make you drowsy, lazy, stupid. Just eat things that keep you alert and active for the deity. You're doing it all for the deity. And then you start seeing differences in what's happening in your life when you have that faith and you're doing it for the deity. So it's like you're having a friend. How do you deepen your relationship with a friend? You start looking out for the friend. You start
doing things for
the friend,
which are also like rituals. You're checking in on the friend every now and then to see how they're doing.
Yes.
And so like the same thing with the deity. It's like a friend that you're checking in with.
Yes.
You're making their favorite food every now and then, maybe.
And read the biographies of a lot of these sadhakas. When you read the biographies, you'll see what they did. If you read Ramakrishna's story, you will see how he keeps talking to Kali, how he keeps talking to Krishna also. There's a story of a small Krishna that he got.
Yeah.
Little murti of Krishna that was given to him. Okay. And he used to talk to that Krishna all the time.
Yeah.
And he would scold that Krishna also. Don't be naughty. He's treating it like a baby Krishna and he's scolding it. So when you do that, and then of course we all know what all powers Ramakrishna had. Like the kind of siddhis he had, right? And then he was able to guide so many people, inspire so many people.
Yeah.
Right? And he would laugh at some of the stupid practices that were being done. That was there. Yeah, but rituals, I think rituals, a lot of people dismiss rituals as something not conducive to higher understanding.
Yeah.
Okay, but actually rituals lead you to that higher understanding. So you start with those rituals. A lot of them are actually gratitude based rituals. So when you do rituals for the Surya, the sun, you are expressing gratitude for the sun, for giving you the energy, the power. Then when you do rituals before eating, you chant that prayer, Brahmarpanam, right? So then you are now thinking of the food that you're eating as a yagya inside your body.
Yeah.
You're putting that food into the yagya that is inside your body, the fire. So then so all these rituals are actually helping you to become more meditative if done in the right way. I mean, you don't in a hurry, put flower, light a lamp and just quickly get out of that place.
Yeah.
Then it will not deepen your practice. But let's say you have got up early and you have kept a good 30 minutes for those rituals. Then as you do the rituals, you feel very peaceful, very calm, very in harmony with everything around you. And then you will find the effect of these rituals. Right?
There was this, I think it was a Beer Biceps episode that I watched recently. He invites all these different sadhakas, and one of the ladies distinguished between religion and spirituality, and she said that religion is all these rituals and all of these different things you need to do that's prescribed that you should do, and that is to develop faith. Religion is necessary for you to develop faith, and spirituality is to take the faith and convert it into moving your consciousness to a higher level. So both go hand in hand, but it's like you graduate from one to the other. Do you agree with that? Or it was her
I mean, that may be her way of explaining. But yes, I do agree that rituals and all these outwardly expressions of devotion, which might look like they are meaningless to some people who don't know what they mean, but actually they all lead to higher faith.
Yeah.
Right? Provided you're not stuck in them. There are, if you become superstitious about rituals, that is, I think that's what leads people to think it's meaningless. Like today, I wasn't able to pray before I left for an important meeting. So now that meeting is going to go bad. I didn't pray. So if you get into that kind of thinking, then rituals are bad for you. Don't do them.
Yeah, I think ritualism that comes out of fear. I don't like excessive ritualism. I cannot do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I cannot cut my nails on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I still don't understand.
You have to respect what they are doing. Like if they say that I don't do this on this day, I know it can be annoying, but if that's what.
I'm fine with food restrictions on certain days. When people say I fast every Fridays, or I understand that this is necessary in that path, that it's part of the sadhana, that you're holding yourself accountable and you're doing that.
Right.
It's not coming out of fearing God or something like that.
That fear is not a great idea. So suppose you're not able to do puja someday, then it should not become it should not be a fear psychosis. It should not be, you should not think that now bad is going to happen to me. That's not the way. I don't like this approach to divine. Yeah. So you do what you can do because your intent is what matters. So try your best to do it. And of course, it's ideal if you're able to do it every day. But you never know. These things come up. And of course, there are elements that are trying to put you off from your sadhana also. That also is true. And so you should try to be on track. But sometimes if it happens, just observe it, move on. That's what I think. But rituals, I think, should not be thrown away like that and regarded as useless. It's not like that. And
there's a healthy balance.
There has to be a healthy balance. So there are those nightly rituals you do, evening rituals that you do. So do them, because we actually do rituals without even knowing. Even if take out everything is a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah.
You brush your teeth,
it's a ritual.
You do things, all those things before sleeping. Those are rituals too.
Yeah.
But you think those are necessary rituals, so it's okay.
The reason why we don't make fun of those things, because it's you brush your teeth, the outcome is you have clean teeth, which is necessary so that you would live a better life, right? It's just that there's a cause and effect that is explained by science.
Yes.
Whereas how many people have studied, 100 people have done this ritual and it has led to this outcome. That's not something that's actually studied.
Yeah.
And so you're doing these rituals and you've taken a leap of faith thinking that this is going to get you to a point, but you don't know. There's so much uncertainty with that.
True.
There's uncertainty with the rituals that you're doing for God. And so that's why people make fun of it.
But if you talk to people who are doing certain rituals, how are they feeling after doing them? You'll find that they are saying that, okay, when I do this in the evening, the Sandhya Vandana, for example, that's a clear thing. Those who do perform the Sandhya Vandana in the morning and evening, they all are saying that it helps them in many different ways.
But is it like sort of like a placebo effect? Like you're doing it.
Now think of the placebo effect itself. That shows that your mind has done something there, right? So that your mind, even placebo effect, people are saying study the placebo effect. Why is the placebo effect there? It's because your mind is so powerful.
So are you doing these, like, I know that we were taught the Nitya Puja, which is like a bunch of rituals that you do every morning. Is that necessary is the focus of that centering ourselves and us coming into a place where, how do I explain this? Like, is it for us or are we doing it for the God, for deities?
It's both. It's both. So when you do it, it does center you.
Yeah.
And then you are also remembering your ancestors. You're remembering your ancestors. You're remembering the gods. It's a gratitude ritual as well. So you are expressing your gratitude for all those people before you, who because of whom you are there today.
So we're doing it for ourselves.
We are doing it for ourselves also, and we're doing it for the deities also. I mean, the deities also are very pleased by it. At least that's the way I look at it.
Okay.
I do see it as the deities being pleased when you do these things. Now, it may not sound scientific, but again, these are things beyond what we call science today. Right?
I mean, look, science is not going to be a best way to explain some of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's experience. The way when I talk to skeptics, I say that, have you done this? Like, if they're making fun of a ritual, they don't have the right to make fun of it until they have done it.
Yeah.
They've followed the entire sadhana for as many years as they need to, and then they can come back to me and say, oh, it didn't work. So that's actually the scientific method.
That's a scientific method, yes.
Do it and then actually test the hypothesis.
Yeah, that's actually, you're right. That is the science we are talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's do the experience instead of asking me for a study. Like, do the sadhana.
And that's how do you think meditation has become so popular? Now, meditation was never existing in a silo, in a vacuum. It came out of these religious practices, and people have just extracted that meditation out of it, right? And then they do it in whatever way they want. But it has come from there. Yeah. So all these sadhanas, everything, all this is the same as all the meditative practices as well, except they have removed the references to God maybe in those things.
Yes.
And in spite of that, they are getting some benefit. Whereas here, when we do the rituals, we get the benefit of sound as well. You know, there is the powerful vibrations that come when you chant something. So there is a lot of mystery. It has not been fully explained what effect sound has on you. Right? Those vibrations, what they have on you when you chant them, what that does to your body. So whatever time you do it in the morning or in the evening, and then, I don't even know if we have the tools to study what it does to you. So it's sometimes, that's why we say it's beyond science.
Yeah, because these things have not been studied by science, and that's why it's been removed, like the concept of prana or sankalpa and all these things that are involved in the process of ritualism.
Right.
When you actually have to use it in a setting where you're testing it out to see if it works, those things have to be removed for scientific study. At least in the West, that's what they would do.
Yeah, so because it has evolved differently in the West.
Yeah.
Because when our science was taken away from us, we were invaded.
Yeah.
India was invaded. And so we didn't continue in the path of research, doing research our way. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
If we were doing it our way, we would have included all these things too.
Yeah, now they have to, like, when they do yoga, when they study yoga nidra, they take out the concept of a sankalpa, and then they say, okay, it's not yoga nidra anymore. Now we're going to call it whatever we want to call it, and it's different from what you guys do. But it's those kind of cultural appropriation things that they're happening. Why should we go to a temple to experience God if we Hindus also believe that God is everywhere and we can experience God at home? We can just, do puja in our altars at home. Why do we need to go to a temple?
Yeah, of course we can. With God, it is very interesting. We have an individual relationship with God, but we also have a community relationship with God in a way, right? So when we do it at our home, that's our individual relationship. We pray. I mean, even in the temple it can be individual, but at home, in the privacy of your home, there are a lot of things you can do undisturbed. But when you go to a temple, then you're going to an energy center which is being taken care of by the purohitas, and if it's an ancient temple, then for generations, lots and lots of worshippers have been congregating there, and various other sadhakas are coming there and infusing it with even more energy. So these are very powerful centers. So when you go to such temples, then even just by going there, you benefit from those vibrations. Right, so that is why going to a temple, especially the ancient temples which are well known, and if these temples often have stories around them that somebody went there and a lot of miracles happened, but you don't go there for the miracles. In fact, miracles happen, but if you go expecting miracles to happen, maybe they don't. But you go without any expectations. As you mentioned, you shouldn't have a transactional relationship with God. You go there, surrender yourself to the deity. And then you sit there in the temple, you meditate, focus on the deity over there. You will be enriched by it. You will feel good about it. And there are many techniques that we don't know. As we go go through the process, we learn all of them. Like how you can actually go to a temple and think of people whom you want to benefit, like your family members who are sick or who are distressed, and you wish that they all heal. You can do that by going to a temple and thinking about them. You can do it at home as well, but at home, but in the temple, when there are so many other worshippers, and then so many important practices are being done over there. Abhisheka is being done, and it is being energized by a lot of mantras over there in the temple. You may not know how to chant those mantras, but those purohits are doing Vedic mantras are being chanted. So it makes sense to go to a temple as often as you can, and especially during the important days. That is when more energy is there in those temples. That is what we believe in.
Okay. Another question I wanted to ask you is about Hinduism, and what are the things that make you Hindu? How would you describe being a Hindu to someone, if I were to ask that question to you?
I would say that I believe in one omnipresent, omniscient, divine, an infinite divine entity, which is Brahman. So I believe in that. That makes me Hindu. And the second thing is that I have my own personal close relationship with this God. With God, I have it with this God. I believe in God as a real entity. It is not an abstract entity. It can be formed with form. It can be formless. But
it
this
can
is
come in any form. Yeah.
Can come in any form. So there is this all-pervasive, permanent, indestructible entity called Brahman. I believe in that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I believe in the karma theory. I believe that whatever action you perform, you will get a consequence of that. It will be a reward or a punishment, every action. So then I have to make sure that I start doing better and better karma, so that I and also reduce my karma. There should not be such a big karmic footprint of mine. I have to reduce it. And then I have to try and do good to others. I have to do seva. I have to not just think about myself. I have to reduce my ego. So all these things are a part of being Hindu for me. Karma. I believe in reincarnation, that I know that I'm not my body. I know that how I look now, how I talk now, this is not, maybe how I talk will reflect, but let's say my body is not me, my mind is not me. There's a deep, there is an Atma inside me, which is the real me, and that is indestructible.
So
I am indestructible.
One body to another.
Yeah. So being Hindu is also about knowing that I am indestructible. Okay. So then I will keep doing my karma. I will try to get my purusharthas, the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which are again terms that you have to explain, and I will keep moving towards my goals.
Yeah,
I will try to get rid of attachments. I'll try to do good without being attached to anything, and I will not think about the outcomes of what I'm doing, and I will only keep doing my duty. So these are the things which make me think I'm Hindu. Right.
We were watching Swami Medhananda's discourse a few days ago, in which he really nicely laid out the 4 things that he has studied different sampradayas because he's wanted to find 4 things that unite all of these different sects and sampradayas of Hinduism to come up with 4 things that everyone believes in. And what was interesting is that the karma theory didn't figure in that 4. And that's more of like a bonus thing about being Hindu. But the 4 things he mentioned, the first was what you mentioned earlier. There is one infinite divine reality, which can be called by different names, manifests itself in different forms. He is formless or with form, and he can be personal or impersonal. Just descriptions of who this divine power is. That's number one. Number two, we're all intimately connected to the divine through our eternal soul. We all have an eternal soul within us that we are not our physical body. We're separate from our mind-body complex. We are our soul. And that soul is going to go from one body to another in different births. But eventually, I mean, it is connected to the divine, that eternal soul. That's number two. Number three is that the goal of life is to achieve liberation from suffering and limitless fulfillment through direct experiential knowledge of divinity.
Very good.
So there, it includes the goal. What is the goal of life is one of the tenets that Hindus have to believe in, which is liberation.
Yes.
And that has also been transferred to Buddhism, and that's they've all taken it from
moksha is the ultimate
moksha.
goal. So ultimate goal is to, when I say I want to lose attachment to everything, that's moksha.
Yeah.
Though I didn't use the term moksha.
But it's not just losing attachment. It is finally coming together with the divine. It's some form of
so
bliss.
because I'm attached to only the divine.
Yeah.
So as I move closer to the divine,
Yes.
I'm losing attachment to all the material things
Materialistic
around
things.
me and relationships also.
Yeah.
Which seem very important to us, but they will all fall away. All the relationships. There's only one relationship that will remain, and that is with the divine.
So this is a realization that happens through growing up, actually. That eventually the only thing that's permanent is your relationship with God.
Then what is the three things?
That's number three. And number four I like a lot because personally I think Hinduism, the reason I love Hinduism is because it gives you techniques on how to fulfill all these things. How do you reach the divine reality? It's told you what is the divine reality, how are we connected to that reality, what is the goal of life, and how do we get there. It's the prescription. And so the fourth one is actually the prescription of how to get there. He says that there are many paths to that goal, but paths can be categorized into four main highways to realize your true divine nature. Number one is karma yoga, which is to engage in selfless work, meaning you're taking the ego out of the work, you're dedicating your work to God without caring about the outcome. Number two is bhakti yoga, which means you're just involved in prayer, worship, rituals, sadhana, and full devotion for Bhagwan. Number three is jnana yoga, which is the intellectual relationship that you develop with God, like the understanding through Advaita or Dvaita, all these different ways in which you're trying to understand Him and His forms and how to get there. Yeah. And number four is Raja Yoga, which is based on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, where you're engaging in meditation to realize our nature as our Purusha, as a Purusha.
That's another thing about a Hindu, that you are pushed to realize your true nature. Yeah. I find that fascinating. So, who are you? You're forced to think about who are you? What is it you really like? What really gives you joy? So, those deep questions about who are you? And then slowly you come to know, we have all those things, right? Whether you are a thinker, you are a teacher, are you in your deepest swabhava? Are you a teacher? Are you a person who wants to keep learning and teaching, or are you a person who wants to keep who wants to do things, like who wants to make things?
Yeah,
you understand. You are or do you want to fight? Are you a fighter? You love to. You are your best when you're fighting. You know
what gives you your most happiness, where it's not where you achieve the level of flow.
Yes.
I mean, there are all these books that are coming out in the West, like there's a book called Flow, where they're just exploring this concept of, you get bliss when you achieve a state of flow. So how do you find your flow? And then the whole book is about how do you find your flow. Then there's another book called Ikigai, which is again very similar to Raja Yoga, again in terms of
Isn't it like Purushartha? Ikigai is about your purpose, finding your purpose.
Finding a purpose, and I think Raja Yoga is a way of finding your purpose, right? So it's like they've taken bits and pieces and they've explored that.
We have everything. We have the educational apparatus for you to discover that within you. And then you become good at whatever you do. And then you're taught not to be attached to it and not to think you are the owner of it. You are good at it not because you are so good at it. It's because there is someone up there who is giving you that power to be good at it. And so you have to acknowledge that power and be grateful and know you're just a small entity right?
Yes, yes.
So those are the things that when we know that empowers you and it makes you grateful, it brings out the best in you. So I think that the meaning of Hinduism, being a Hindu, not many people know.
Yeah. I mean, I think this, like, okay, so the karma theory didn't figure in this because I don't think karma really, it doesn't really address the understanding of God.
No, karma actually makes you responsible for yourself. The karma theory is lovely because it tells you that it's not like God is coming in on a day-to-day basis and making you do something. It's you who are performing karma every day according to your nature, and then there are these consequences that keep coming to you, and you have to keep working through them. And so karma theory also is very important. I think it's quite widespread. In some way or the other, all Hindu sampradayas have the concept of karma.
Yeah, that's true.
It's there.
It's just not an understanding that is necessary for us to achieve Paramatma, I think. We don't need to really, like, it's just a law of nature. I mean,
yeah, it's just that, but if you want to do karma without having
The
ego, if you want to do karma without ego and think I am not the doer, then Paramatma comes in. You are doing the karma.
No, but that's just karma yoga. I think with karma, you're confusing it. Like karma yoga is mentioned here. It's just engage in selfless work, because that's at the end of the day. If you want to achieve like God, if you want to liberate yourself, you can only do these things, the prescription. But karma theory doesn't necessarily give you any prescription as such. It's just telling you that it's not telling you what to do. It's just explaining what the outcome of what's happened.
So it's telling you that this is the framework that you keep doing, and this is what will come to you. But again, if you go a little deeper, how did this framework come? Like, who is there? Is this there by itself? Maybe you will come into questions about who created the karma framework. How, was it always?
I think it's a distraction. Thinking too much about, like, oh, this is happening to me. I don't know what I did in my previous birth that led to this. You'll never know what happened to you in your previous birth. Or maybe you can.
Oh, you think karma theory is a distraction?
It's a distraction because I think it makes you overthink and creates analysis paralysis.
No,
for
it's
you.
only in terms of knowing that, okay, this is happening to me because I have done something for which led to this.
Go into, like,
I don't need to
me.
think about what I did. I did something which led to this. Let me just make sure that from now on, whatever I do is not hurtful to anyone, and whatever I do is the best that I could do at that time or at any moment. I do my best, and the rest, if it comes to me in any way, I just have to face it. So it's just how you approach the karma theory. It exists whether you believe in it or not.
Okay.
Point is, it exists whether you believe in it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody cares whether you believe in it or not.
I believe in it. I'm just saying that it could be a distraction when you're thinking, because we have been programmed in such a way that in every birth we don't exactly understand why things are happening to us. Like, if I knew that this was happening to me because of ABC that I did in a previous birth, it would be great. But clearly God didn't want us to have that understanding.
No, but when you think of your own svabhava, your own nature, you can actually know a lot of things. Maybe I'm so hot-headed, maybe I react impulsively, maybe I do these things. So let me try and control myself. So as you gain more and more self-control, your karma will change as well, the karma that you do. So I think karma theory need not be something that will be stressful to you. It just makes you, in fact, reduces the stress. So then you don't blame anybody. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me?
That's true.
So you accept the karma theory. I have done something, so it's happening to me.
Yeah. It also gets rid of comparisons where you're like, why is that person got more than me?
Yes.
You realize, okay, they're on their own journey. Maybe they've lived more births than I have. Maybe I've lived fewer births.
So
like, we're just all different.
Right. So the person who's enjoying a great life has
done something to it.
Done great karma, but you might actually want to know the nature of this person. What is this nature which is enabling him? There might be, you'll find things like this person actually is detached in many ways, maybe. And so, does a lot of things, earns money without really being attached to the money. It's possible. So I think every framework is important. The Purushartha framework, Karma framework. We have all these frameworks. The Triguna approach in Hinduism, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. All of these matter. Like, when you make a decision, then you can see whether am I doing it in the Sattvic way or am I doing it in the Rajasic way? Am I doing it in the Tamasic way? So
this is all, I would say, framework that comes into Hindu culture. Like, it's just it's come out of the foundation of the ecosystem of Hinduism and the Hindu civilizational culture.
Right.
But in terms of Hinduism as a religion, I do like these 4 tenets specifically, because Hindu as a religion, I would say, is going to describe your relationship with God and how to achieve that. So there's Hinduism as a religion, there's Hinduism as the civilization and what it gave rise to in terms of education, medicine, and all the different fields. Arthashastra, like economy, like that Hinduism is different. And like I just want to like make those different distinctions between.
Right.
But when addressing divinity and God, then I
Right.
think that these four do a really good job of
Right.
explaining
I
what
also
we
think
do.
that we should, in Hinduism, we do not fear God. So it's not a God-fearing religion.
Yeah.
So we see
I've
God.
never felt scared
Yeah.
of God.
We are
and
not
his
afraid.
wrath.
Yeah, we could be afraid of our own karma. Like, oh my God, I have done this. Now I'm going to pay for this. So that can
Yeah.
happen. But it's not a God who is a punishing entity. In fact, this is the question I got from a professor a few days ago when I gave my talk on Guru Vandana in Rutgers. That professor was asking me about, do you have a punishing God? And I said, no, we generate our own punishments and rewards by our karma. So
Yeah, that's actually something it's hard to understand. I mean, like it's very different. We don't see it like that at all. I've never thought if I've done something wrong that I never look at it as God will punish me for it or anything. I'll just think, oh no, now I'll have to suffer from it for it. I'm the cause of my own undoing.
Yes,
There's no
yes.
God in the picture he's gonna take care of me. He's full of love. He wants to give love to me. And this is just something I've done to myself. That's how I look at
True.
There will be a lot of contradictions because we don't fully understand it. So yes, the karma theory does indicate that when we take an action, there will be an opposite. I mean, there will be some kind of reaction to it in a different birth. We don't know when we'll be paying for it, but then also maybe everything has been designed in the sense
and many
that
people are doing their karma. There's a karma of a nation also. The whole karma of a nation. Lots of karmas. And so there is some kind of algorithm that's making sure that something
we
is,
had to do something at a certain time has been already designed beforehand. Maybe. I mean, there's
I don't think
fatalistic.
It's not designed already, I think. It's happening as we are going along. I don't
Okay.
think it's preordained. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a concept. It's a very complex concept.
We won't be able to get to it.
We need a lot more. We have to meditate a lot more
Meditate on
and reach
it.
that state of meditation.
Yeah.
Then maybe we can discuss a lot more.
Or maybe we don't have the adhikara yet to talk about these things.
We don't.
But on that note, this was a great discussion and I enjoyed talking to you. And we will do this again soon.